observant listeners might have noticed, but during the holidays, we shifted our schedule a little bit. I don't think anyone will blame us for taking an extra week off, but y'all, I think we have a problem now. I think we fucked up.
Uh-oh.
Why?
No one's gonna listen to this episode. It comes out on the release day for Destroy the Day.
Oh, no.
Oh, God.
All of our listeners are either,
listening.
like, drowning in their tears, or they have ascended to another plane of existence. Like, no one's listening to this right now.
No, you know what? It'll be fine, because the release will come out, but there's going to be plenty of people that will be, like, at work or on public transit, like, not able to get their book because it's at home.
Yeah.
Right? And so, in the interim, like, waiting to get home and rip apart the packaging to their book and devour the book.
That's gonna rip their heart out.
Exactly. They're gonna listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
Because they're like, these are my
Perfect.
people that will be equally unhinged and crying and mad at Brigid. But
Probably.
As you're listening to this, we're probably all crying.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know I should have more faith, but I don't. I don't have any faith at all.
Neither do I.
I don't trust her.
No, guys, come on. We're positive thoughts and thinking. We're positive.
Nope. I read the whole
manifesting
Curse So
here.
Dark and Lonely series. Nope.
See?
I am in the camp.
All right.
You know, you're right, because I need to channel all my optimism towards Destroy the Day, because I have no optimism towards the third Crescent City.
Oh god, no! Oh god, I'm gonna hate it so much.
I have no dog in this fight, so I can't wait to see how dirty she does, y'all.
Yeah, no.
Oh, she's gonna be so mean, and I know that it's gonna be bad, and I'm ready for it. So I'm expecting the worst.
I was a fan, am a fan of Nesta and Cassian for my own reasons, and then Silver Flames later. I just didn't even bother to read Crescent City, because I was just like, and already, like, I actually read the whole Throne of Glass series, but then, and part of me is like, I'm not attached to ACOTAR like other people are, because I am, a staunch Irish person and hate the very blatant Irish slander in the ACOTAR.
I feel like, I don't know about Kaitlyn, but I feel like me and Lady are like, we're attached to it, but it's like Stockholm Syndrome.
Yes, at this point, yes. At this point, yes. I just need to know how she's gonna do Lucian dirty.
That's like my only, like, skin still at this point.
I'll probably end up reading future books in the ACOTAR series for literally the exact reason that you just said. Not because I really care, but because I just gotta know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, I guess that's the group you pull in to get money. Like, it's not just the ardent fans, it's the ones being like, well, god damn it, I need to know.
Yes.
Right. Which, I mean, technically Crescent City 3 is part of ACOTAR.
Exactly.
So, I mean, like, it's just so stupid. Like,
It's because she wanted people to read Crescent City.
yeah, because it wasn't as popular. And she was like, I'll just put ACOTAR in here and make all those people read it.
You know, it happens, I mean, at least in terms of the world building, if you read Throne of Glass, there's a point where you're like, this shit's all gonna fucking connect. So, it was done terribly. I mean, you read it and you're like, the fuck is this? But anyway, you knew that the world building was all gonna, like...
Love that we're already salty before the episode starts, by the way. Let's just start this
Good
already.
energy.
Well, to be fair, I had to delay our recording because these fucking kids wouldn't go to sleep, so I'm a little salty already.
Alright, let's start this.
Hi, and welcome to my podcast, Knows What You Read in the Dark, a book club podcast made by chaotic people for chaotic people. I'm B.
I'm Lady.
I'm Kaitlyn.
And I'm Kristen.
And we are four friends here to tell you what's what about the books we read and loved this month, or the books we hated this month. First up, we have... Who do we have?
Lady.
It's me.
First up, we have Lady.
I have it on good authority. You did not like your book.
It's it's complicated. Relationship status with this book, complicated.
Yeah, the Discord chat was here and there. It's hard to tell.
Yeah. I ended up giving it the 3 stars.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Like, for me, it's like it's okay. Like, it's not something I would reread, but it was enjoyable.
Okay.
So, for this episode, I read A Flame in the Night by Dante.
Okay.
It's a queer, poly little novel about a very sexually liberated couple meeting a vampire and adding him to their relationship.
All right.
Sounds like it should be great.
Yeah.
Right? for now, like, check. And since it's set in the 1920s in Paris and the book loves to sprinkle a little French here and there, I'll purposefully pronounce the character's name the French way, and it's gonna make our podcast sound like a little fancy.
Okay, I'm not mad at it.
Do it.
Yeah. Spoilers ahead, but, like, I could have told you what this book was about before I even read it, so, like, it's exactly what you expect it to be as a vampire story. So
can I just say
Don't be too
before
much.
we get too into this that the guy on the cover of this book is like so sexy.
Yes.
What? I haven't seen it.
Like I just pulled it up on Goodreads and yeah, he is sexy.
At first I thought that was the vampire. It is not the vampire.
This isn't the vampire?
He becomes a vampire. It's a vampire story.
Okay.
Anyway.
Fair enough. Okay, we can move on.
So our main characters are Léon and Claire. Sorry, Léon and Claire. Claire is a burlesque dancer who sometimes stars in erotic films. She loves sex, and we're told that she especially loves sex with women, but, like, that's about the extent of Sappho's influence in this book, so, like, don't get too excited about it.
Damn it.
Yeah. Most of the book is told from Léon's point of view. He is very much like my kind of fictional man. He's the guy on the cover, by the way. So, he's very much my kind of fictional man. He's an addict, a former sex worker, and he is traumatized both by his time as a prostitute and also his time fighting both in World War I and in the Mexican Revolution.
And you did not love this book?
I did not love this book.
What?
I know. So, Léon is straight, but at least that's what his experience has been until now. As a prostitute, he slept with men, but that was mostly for money. And when he has group sex with his wife and other people, it's usually with women because, like I said, Claire prefers women, or at least I'm told that she prefers women. The book opens with Léon attending one of his wife's burlesque shows. At the show, he takes notice of another man in the crowd, and he immediately feels intrigued by this man. He has, like, long white hair, a fancy mustache, and, like, his clothes are, like, kind of out of style. Like, he notices his cravat that's, like, really not appropriate to the time, and he, like, fixates on it.
God, this is, like, literally the intro to Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah, it is.
I know, right?
That exact same fucking exchange happens between the
Honestly,
stats.
I'm low-key convinced this is a Interview with the Vampire fanfiction published into a book, but I have no proof of that.
It definitely sounds like it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we're on that track.
Léon is really giving me main character from that show, whose name I forgot, sorry. Lestat, thank you.
Yeah, that's who the guy on the cover looks like.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
There you
He
go.
looks like Sam Reed?
Yeah, like pull it up. He looks just
Okay.
like with the long hair. Yeah.
Like Sam Reed in a Castlevania kind of...
Okay,
Like,
say
exactly,
no more.
yeah.
Say no more.
Yeah.
So yeah, he has long white hair, fancy mustache, clothes out of style, like, you know where this is going.
Yeah.
They make prolonged eye contact, but, like, they don't talk. Anyway, Claire and Léon find themselves at a filmmaker's manor, where people gather to watch erotic films. It's all, like, very 1920s and very French of them, not gonna lie. At that manor, Léon sees a man. He sees the man again, and Claire encourages him to go talk to him. And so he goes over and greets him, and the two men decide, as people do, I guess, to go into a viewing room to watch a porn film together with other men.
That's so straight.
I was gonna
That's
say,
so
all right.
straight.
So straight.
That's what straight men do on the weekends.
I love one of the interactions
Wait,
in this, by the way.
Have any
Yes.
of you, because I am older than you all, do you remember, oh shit, what's the name of the video? But it was like...
Are you gonna talk about porn?
No,
I was gonna say, I don't know that we're like on that level
bro
yet.
date or something like that. There's like jokes about basically like having, I'm gonna have to ask what it was, but basically the joke is like, oh yeah, that's so straight, but it's like, you end up going over to play GameCube all night with someone drinking Natty Ice, and then out comes the giant dildos and such.
Amazing.
B, I gotta tell you, I got no fucking clue what you're talking about, but...
No, I have no idea.
It sounds like a good time.
I am looking this up on the internet.
Go ahead. We're gonna wait.
I gotta know what this is about, because I have no clue.
Oh, I found it. Okay. It's called bro rape. It's not...
Excuse me?
Bro rape?
It's called bro rape.
Oh my god.
What the fuck?
It's it was done in the sense of like a Dateline investigative report kind of thing. Like, this is from the early days of YouTube.
Okay, moving on.
Anyway, sorry.
That's alright.
Okay.
They go in this room, and together they're gonna watch a porn movie, which is super, super straight of them.
Yeah.
And there's this really funny exchange between them where the vampire man, it tells Leon, oh, it gets the job done. It gets the job done. It does its what it's supposed to do. And Leon goes, oh, I wouldn't know about that. I'm not a true homosexual. And then he explains about how the only times he's had sex with men is because, he was paid for it. So he's only a homosexual for, an hour or, 30 minutes or something. Which I was like, yeah, keep telling yourself
That's not how that works.
No.
They introduce each other in the film room. The man is Matthias, and he asks about Claire. And Leon answers honestly that she's his wife. Anyway, the film that they're watching turns out to be gay, of course. And Leon tells the man that he isn't homosexual because that's gay. Unless he's getting paid, in which case, he might suck a dick or two. That's fine. And meanwhile, his wife, Claire, is in another room, and she spots a man that she wants to fuck. His name is Henri, which you don't need to remember. He'll never come up again after this scene, whatever. I just wanted to say the name Henri, and to make this podcast sound a little fancier. When her husband and Matthias get back from, the movie watching, in which nothing happens, by the way, just saying, other people are masturbating and sucking each other off, but, these two don't do anything, they just watch a gay movie together. When they come back from that movie watching, all four of them go to a secluded room together. Henri, Claire, and Leon have a threesome together, while Matthias, the alleged vampire, just watches while he's chain smoking. Super hot scene, by the way. No comments about the smut. Really good smut. But when they're done, Matthias is gone, and they notice a slip of paper with his address on it. Mysterious.
Oh.
So with more encouragement from his wife, Leon goes to the address on the paper. Matthias lives in a mansion, and as you might have guessed, and as I have already said, he is a vampire. Leon overshares a lot because he's a bisexual disaster, even though he doesn't know he's bisexual.
Mood.
And they trauma bound together about being in the army and stuff like that, right? Manly things. And we learned that both Leon and Claire were in the army, and both of them also have killed their former abusers / pimps, and that the shared trauma of that is a big part of their bond. Love that for them, by the way.
King shit.
Yeah. Matthias himself has seen worse, too, but, he's also, kind of vague about it. You don't really learn which wars it is, because, he's a vampire and he doesn't want to say it.
That is a trade secret. Of course you can't tell them.
You can't reveal that stuff.
But yeah, since Leon is kind of freaking out about, sharing his secret of killing the pimps before, Matthias basically goes no, it's okay. I've killed people too. It's fine. I've killed people too.
Everybody has.
Everybody has, obviously.
Hasn't killed someone for a little...
And we just tell it to a random guy we just met and watched a porn movie together.
They have a bond that can't be broken.
Yeah, exactly. So, on that night, they share a very homoerotic kiss then vampiric bite moment.
Yum.
Super hot. And Leon goes back home to his wife. He finds her getting harassed by her former pimp's brother, who is threatening to beat her up or worse. And Leon takes a beating because he intervenes between the both of them. And they both vow to beat the guy's ass, basically.
Nice.
Leon tells his wife that Matthias agreed to turn them into vampires, which as far as I can tell was not actually written in the book. I don't know why the author says that, but whatever. Maybe I just can't read.
Maybe you just missed it.
Yeah.
Probably not.
I actually went back and I was like, wait, he said that? And I guess maybe Leon was just lying too, and like, whatever. And so Claire agrees to visit because she wants to beat her former pimp's brother's ass, and being a vampire would make that a lot easier, obviously. If you think that comes out of nowhere in this smut book, it really does. Like, we're told for the whole book that Claire is ruthless and her husband worships the ground that she walks on, as he should.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But this is the first moment that we're really shown it, other than being told that she was working during the war, you know? Like, apart from that, before now, her only character traits were like being a working woman who works in the sex industry, you know?
That's all she needs to be.
Yeah, she needs to be badass, but like, that's the first time I really see her being bloodthirsty. And the rest of the book, it happens exactly as you might expect. They go to the manor, they have a threesome, they get turned into vampires, they go home to murder the thugs, go back to the vampire mansion, and the end. And I read this whole part in one sitting, and I couldn't help but be like a little disappointed at the end, because I'm like, I don't know, I was hoping for something, maybe even just more smut in general, but yeah, maybe I'm just a whore. I don't know.
Well, when you said the premise, like, I was thinking it was going to be like a Katie Robert book where...
Yeah, right?
There's not a chapter that doesn't have it, but...
So it really is, it's basically the Deus Ex Machina of just, now you're a vampire, limitless power, solve all your problems.
Pretty much, yeah.
A very Twilight of that.
I mean, like, I would say, like, the scenes are still a lot better than in Twilight, and they're just like a lot...
yeah, I mean...
I would hope so.
Yeah.
The bar is in hell.
There is a pretty good, like, scene, like, intense scene, but, like, when they get turned, but, like, just... That's not what I'm here for, I don't know.
No.
Anyway, this book is very short, so, like, it's about, like, 160 pages, so, like, I understand that it can't be, like, super into details, but I can't help but feel like Leon struggles, like, with his sexuality and, like, how it relates to his past trauma of being forced to sleep with men could have been, like, explored much more, like, in a longer book, you know?
Yeah.
Because, like, it's kind of hinted that he thinks he's straight, but also, like, he's had these experiences in the past that he did not exactly enjoy with men, and so, like, his straightness is basically because he did not enjoy his former experience. Like, I don't know, I feel like a longer book could have, like, helped with that a little bit.
Yeah.
And, like, for once, I would have liked some flashbacks. Which I know is weird for me to say. But, like, you're told of their trauma, and none of it is shown. It all feels, like, very sterile.
Yeah.
Like, the author didn't want to dig into, like, didn't want to dig too deep into triggering topics, which, like, I can respect and I understand that, but when your book is about vengeance, like, you need people to feel what your characters feel, you know?
Yeah.
Imagine that they wrote it out and then actually it got edited and that, like, got cut.
Oh my god.
Yeah, right? I think it might be self-published. No, I think so, because I got it on... No, actually, I bought it from the bookstore. But I think it might still be self-published. Anyway.
Yeah, maybe.
I think that, like, to expand on two things. So, like, the vengeance thing, like, revenge and vengeance plots don't work for me if I don't want revenge with the character. And, like, it's hard to get behind that ideal whenever you can't really see what happened to them. And, like you said, that could have been expanded upon in, like, a flashback, or, like, you know, something could have happened in the present and it made them remember anything like that. But then also the thing with, like, him being, like, kind of traumatized from, like, his past of, like, having to sleep with men, like, that could make a really good, like, you know, coming into your sexuality story.
Like a big character-driven book too, like, all this trauma and this angst.
Right, like, it could have been really, really good, especially, like, along with the vengeance plot. Like, that could have been really, really good if the author felt like expanding on it. It just kind of seems like she just wanted to write, like, a little bit of a sexy book with a little bit of murder in it, which like is fine, but it makes your book like not as fleshed out.
Yeah, and all of that made it feel like it made it read a lot like fanfiction, which I don't mean to be derogatory, more like the style of writing of it. Since the book is so short, like you don't have a lot of time to get attached to the characters, and it's as if you're expected to know them already, like you would be if you were reading fanfiction.
Yeah.
Right.
And like, and while I can feel for their struggles a little bit, like obviously I'm like, oh no, that's sad that these characters went through these things. A lot of the feelings fall flat when you're like told of their established relationship instead of like reading through it with them.
Yeah.
Right.
And the fanfiction influences are like also present in like the over description of places and clothing.
Oh,
like
no.
I don't need to know the color of the cushion of a room you're just passing through. And like Jesus Christ, I don't need to know what your character wears as he's drinking coffee. I don't care. Don't care.
Yeah. It's like you said, I don't have a problem with fan fiction in general. I think it's a great thing, and we've all dabbled.
Yeah.
But like...
We love it.
Yeah,
we love fan fiction here, but like, I don't want to see... Like, if you're gonna write a book, write a book.
Mm-hmm. Like, as I said, I don't know that this is fanfiction. And I'm not accusing it of being fanfiction. Just reads a lot like you're supposed to know the characters before you go into it.
Which is a huge thing.
Or like have an attachment. Yeah.
Like you said, it's like a huge thing with fanfiction is like, you already know these characters, that's why you're here.
Right.
So you don't need to be introduced to them to fall in love with them, because you do already love them.
Or to know their trauma, or whatever.
Exactly. That doesn't translate into a book with unknown characters.
The latter half of this book is a lot about, like, talking about a lot about vengeance on past abusers, and it gets bloody, and I couldn't really care about the vengeance, like we said, like, because the abuse had happened before the event of the book. The vengeance wasn't on the main abusers, who are already dead by the time the book takes place.
Yeah.
Like, sure, we're told that the brother of the pimp also abused Claire, but we're not shown it.
Yeah.
Like, we're basically just told, like, oh, he was also there when she was abused. Like, okay.
Okay.
Alright. But I still didn't see the scene, so I don't feel her trauma.
Right. Well, and again, like, if this was a fan fiction story, you would already know what had happened to them. So, like, you would feel something when it came around to this time, but you don't. So it's like, okay, well, who gives a shit? Like,
yeah.
At the end of it, I couldn't help but compare it to A Dowry of Blood.
Oh, yeah.
Which is also a vampire poly story about vengeance and toxic relationships.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in A Dowry of Blood, you feel for the main character and her fellow, like, vampire thralls. We want them to get out of the abusive relationship because we're reading through it, and, like, it's a little bit longer than this is, but it's still, like, a really short book.
Yes.
And it hooks you, like, from the first chapter.
Yes.
Right.
And all those characters are so, like, they're individuals. They're not like each other. And they are so interesting. I instantly wanted to know more about. So, obviously, I was going to be in from the start with that book.
Well, and we can even go, like, A Dowry of Blood is a retelling. S.T. Gibson still has a way of, like, not relying on what you already know about those characters and still making you, like, get invested. And, like, she's not relying on it being a retelling. She still builds it up the way that she should, which, you know, could have happened here. But, and like you said, A Dowry of Blood is not very long. It's probably, like, 250 pages.
Yeah, 200 something, yeah.
Yeah, it's not very long at all.
So, all this to say that I'm not giving up on Morgan Dante. I would really like to see what they can do with, like, a longer book.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, if you're looking for a poly-vampire novel, like, just read A Dowry of Blood, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, it's sexy, it's dark, it's tragic, whereas this is sexy, dim, and a little bloody.
Yeah.
But it's, like, not really tragic.
And in A Dowry of Blood, Dracula sucks dick, so what more do you want?
Yeah. Exactly.
What else are you looking for in your books?
No other boxes need ticked.
No.
One of the things that I posted in our Discord to you guys was this scene where Leon is asking Matthias if he would be comfortable with being penetrated while Matthias penetrated Claire.
Yeah.
And in the next chapter, this isn't what's happening. What's happening is Leon gets in the middle of the sandwich, and I'm like, I don't understand if
what
this is a mistake, or if these two are just, like, they changed their mind. Anyway, I just wanted Matthias to have more action.
Yeah. I kind of feel bad for the poor guy.
I know, right? He does get some action, just like not as much as I would have liked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the author of Providence Girls.
I feel like I've heard of that.
Yeah, which is like, I think it's about mermaids. Let me just look it up real quick.
Said Providence Girls?
Yes.
Oh my god, the cover of this is beautiful.
Right?
Yeah, it looks like it's about...
It's definitely about like eldritch creatures of some sort.
Yeah,
and
it's not a
I kinda wanna
mermaid,
give
but
it-
it's something like that.
Yeah, I kind of want to give it a try. Like, I don't want to give up on this author. I want to read something longer from them and see if they can actually pull it off.
It has better reviews than the other one.
Oh, does it?
It's got a 4.7 or 4.07, sorry.
Oh, that's pretty good.
I don't know. I may read this one because it looks interesting to me.
Maybe read it and tell me what you think.
Yeah, I'm going to add it to my TBR.
We have like very different tastes sometimes in prose, and I think you might like some of Morgan Dante's prose because it's very flowery, but at the same time, sometimes I was like, you don't need to have your prose that flowery for this. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
Last thing before we move on, if you see a word you don't understand in the book, if it's like, it doesn't have to be English. If you see a word in another language as you see in the book, do you Google it?
Usually.
I guess it kind of depends on what it is. If I can use context to figure it out, I don't.
Okay, because I sent this snippet to both my boyfriend and my friend Zoe to see if they thought this was cringe or if I was just really mean to this book. The sentence in question is, if she hadn't approached him outside of Le Monocle, well, he wouldn't have had the couille to approach her. Imagine him, no couille. And I'm like, someone who does not know French would Google that word, no?
Yeah.
I probably would, yeah.
Yeah.
It means balls.
Oh.
Imagine just Googling balls. And I'm like, what are the pictures you're gonna come up with when you Google couille?
Yep.
Yeah.
For me, this is super cringe. But I don't know if someone who reading that would just think it's funny. It's both funny and cringe.
I would definitely think it's funny. Like, I'd be like, what the fuck?
Indeed, what the fuck? And I just Googled it. The Google results for couille, they're exactly what you expect.
Oh, great.
Oh.
Excellent.
Exactly what you expect.
Well, on that note.
Yeah, we're shifting, like, we are way shifting gears.
In fact, if I'm not mistaken, there's no balls in your book.
Well, so I completely changed gears. And I didn't do the book that I thought that I told you about.
Okay, I'm still excited though.
Yes, I do want to still
What did
bring
you
that
read?
book, so I'm not going to say what it is. But I had a so I had a bit of a change of heart just because it's winter time, so it is cold and it is dark constantly. And not only is it winter, but it's January, which apart from Kristen's birthday is objectively the worst month of the year.
It is indeed the worst month of the year.
Are you bringing what I think you're bringing?
No, you couldn't possibly
No?
guess.
Okay.
But then to add, like, insult to injury, my partner and I lost our beloved corgi at the beginning of the month.
Rest in peace, Todd.
Rest in peace, Todd. We love you.
Yes. What I am getting at is that the coalition for serotonin is dangerously low in my house.
Mhm.
It's bleak. Times are bleak, which I needed a huge pick-me-up. So, I decided to talk about the light of my life, my undefeated reigning champion, the Night Circus.
Oh, okay.
I was like, if it's
thinking
not the Captive Prince, which is what
Exactly.
Lady and I were thinking we were going to bring. We were like, all right, I was like, all right, it's going to be
I
Night
thought
Circus.
about it because I do reread the Captive Prince series every January. That is my annual tradition. I thought about it. The only reason I didn't bring Captive Prince is because I have a feeling that we all want to take a crack at it, and we'll probably do it as a bonus episode at some point.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Ooh, yeah.
beat your ass. Like, how dare
Yes,
you?
how fucking dare you bring this? Okay, so
Yes,
All
get
of us
unhinged.
here- I can't wait to talk about this. My notes have taken me almost a week to complete. I have tried to pare them down as much as possible. We'll see how this goes. You should see.
I was going to say SpongeBob meme 2 hours later.
Yeah, honestly. It should surprise no one that I have a very, in detail annotated copy of The Night Circus, but I actually went through and marked specific pieces that I wanted to talk about, so I annotated just for this episode as well.
I want to interject because my best friend also loves the Night Circus, and I am working on a project that involves like making something for them, and it involves like having like covers or like a closed part of it, and so I was gonna do the covers for the Night Circus, and so then knowing Kaitlyn and your love for the Night Circus, I texted Kaitlyn because I was like, I need to know what your favorite Night Circus covers are. And that was like a very, I don't know, hopefully that was a nice like boost to your serotonin.
Yes.
Was that actually December?
No,
I think
it was like late December, but regardless. And I had an answer for you immediately, of course.
You did. And within like 10 minutes, it was like, I got you.
I got you. Here are your options. For anybody wondering, it's the Japanese edition of the Night Circus is my favorite one. It's the most beautiful cover.
But also, like, Kaitlyn, do you read Japanese, Kaitlyn?
No. It doesn't matter. I don't read French either, and Lady got me the French version of A Far Wilder Magic for my birthday, because it's so beautiful.
It is so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So all of us here are aware that my bread and butter is books that are virtually impossible to describe to another person. Non-linear books in unusual formats, that kind of stuff. The Night Circus is no different. In fact, this is the book that began my love affair with storytelling that was very atmospheric and multi-layered, non-linear.
This is like, it's like the ADHD and the, what is it called? The binaural hearing?
Yeah.
Where it's like being able to hear two songs overlaid to each other. And it was like, if I had to describe what kind of books you like, it would be that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, take that format of listening to music where it's like two songs overlapping each other, but not mashups, but just literally like, it was like, and then apply that to a book. And that's what Kaitlyn likes.
Just about. You'd probably get the formula about 85% of the time if you did that. This has been my favorite book for 10 years. I've reread it countless times, so now I am here to present to you my love letter to Erin Morgenstern's The Night Circus.
Amen.
I'm going to start with just a short elevator pitch, and then I'll get a little bit into the plot and the atmosphere, and then at the end, you're all going to listen to me gush about the book. The Night Circus is about a competition between two opposing magicians set in a fantastical black and white circus that is only open at night. That is the description I give to people when I am telling them to read this book. Like I said, elevator pitch, one sentence. There are about 1 million more layers to this story, though.
Oh, yeah.
While time passes in a straight line for the characters in this book, they themselves are not experiencing a non-linear phenomena. The Night Circus is non-linear in structure because it's very multi-layered and there's multiple character perspectives you jump from. So, for example, you might read a character's perspective in a chapter taking place in 1884, and then the next chapter will be a different character in 1901. So, while the time is really passing in a straight line in these respective stories, it is jumping back and forth for you, the reader. It's done this way because the timelines kind of rely on each other in a way that's not really clear until you reach the end of the book. But beginning in 1873, we follow two magicians, Marco and Celia. Their story serves as the book's foundation, as they have been bound to a magical competition for most of their lives, and their game is the reason that the circus is created in the first place. Celia is the daughter of a man named Hector Bowen. He's a famous stage magician who actually has real magical powers, and Celia, as his daughter, has inherited his natural magic ability. It's a really cool mechanic, actually, for a character to have magical powers and be a stage magician. At one point, he's talking about other magicians, and he's like, they're a bunch of fish dressed in feathers trying to convince the world they can fly, and I am but a bird amongst their midst. Which I love as a job, I guess you could say, for a character to have that has magical powers. Like, oh no, I don't have real magical powers, I'm just a stage magician. Wink.
Right?
Yeah. Marco Aldister is an orphan. He was tested for magical aptitude at a young age and chosen to be the student of a man whose real name is not known, but he goes by Alexander in the book. Alexander and Hector, Celia's father, have known each other for a very long time, and they periodically train students like Celia and Marco to compete as a way to pit their two styles of teaching against one another. Alexander believing that anybody with the proper study can learn magic and perform these feats of magical ability, and Hector believes that natural inclination supersedes any training. So Celia and Marco grow up learning their respective styles of magic under their respective instructors, knowing almost nothing about the particulars of their competition, when it will take place, when it will end, even who their opponent is. They just know that one day they'll have to compete against this secret opponent who they don't know. But the story of Marco and Celia, and by extension the circus, is really complex and involves the lives of so many side characters that they feature prominently in the story. Some of them are very closely linked to the main events, and some are seem almost completely independent, but they all add this layer of nuance or context to what's going on in the main story, or how the main story is affecting those on the fringes of it. I'll name just a few. There's Frederick Thiessen. He is a German clockmaker who's been commissioned to construct the grandfather clock for the circus grand entrance. There is Chandrish Christophe Lefebvre. He is a eccentric theater owner who is Marco's employer, as well as the owner and proprietor of the night circus. Bailey Clark is a young man growing up on his family's orchard in Concord, Massachusetts in the early 1900s.
Bailey, my beloved.
Yes, Bailey, my beloved. He's so adorable. But, like, you can see, these are only 3 of, like, a shit ton. There's more that I haven't mentioned here. And what I'm getting at is there are so many moving parts, and I know it's not everyone's jam to read a story like this, but none of these jumps away to other characters or other time periods kind of pull you away from the story and what's going on, because they're all orbiting the night circus and this powerful magical like force that's kind of drawing people in without realizing it. The other reason that none of these jumps to different characters or time periods feels jarring is because if there's one thing that Erin Morgenstern knows how to do, it is to create an atmosphere. Every detail in this book has been meticulously chosen to ensure the vibe permeates every aspect of the story.
Oh, for sure.
It's all about the vibe.
Yeah.
It's the opposite of, like, Nightbane as far as, like, aesthetic. Like, as far as, like, the aesthetic being the entire thing. Like, we made a joke about how, like, Nightbane is just, like, a Pinterest board, like, made into a book. It's like Erin Morgenstern took that idea, but then, like, she also knows how to, like, write characters and worlds and stuff. And so, like, it, you know, it's like, in every way, it would be the opposite. It's, like, of taking aesthetic over, or vibes over, like, other things and making it the forefront, but then, like, being able to back it up.
Even the, like, mundane in this book feels alive and fantastical. There's a quote I want to read to you here. It's talking about the train that the circus travels on. The train is unremarkable as it chugs across the countryside, puffing clouds of gray smoke into the air. The engine is almost entirely black. The cars it pulls are equally as monochromatic. Those with windows have glass that is tinted and shadowed, and those without are dark as coal. And it's just stuff like this, like small details. Like I said, atmospheric is the only way to really describe it. There are such small moments in this book that serve to integrate you, the reader, into the world of the night circus as well. They're really short. I think the longest one is like a page and a half, but they're actually descriptions of your own journey through the circus. They're written in second person, and they describe the different tents and performances that you are witnessing as the story is going on. So you're like traveling through, and like every, I don't know, let's say 40 pages, there'll be this like little snippet of what the circus is like for you. And it's this extra layer of meaningful design to the aesthetic and how it works to tell the story and to make it an immersive experience for you.
It was one of my favorite parts of the book, honestly.
Yes.
It lends itself to what you would also experience at an actual circus.
Yeah.
Like, if you still would go to one, where it's like, you don't see everything at once.
Yeah.
Like, even if it is just like a one big tent, like, the acts come on, one at a time.
Yes.
But in this sense, because it is so many different tents kind of sprawled out, you have to go in, to individual spaces. It lends itself to kind of like slowly unfurling the sprawl, if you will.
And I think it's really cool. So, like, obviously within the text of the story itself, the characters will mention certain tents, and those tents will be described when the characters are in them, but other ones will be mentioned, like, offhand, and you don't really get a description of them because the characters either aren't in them or they're not relevant. They're just being mentioned. Say somebody said, oh, she's by the acrobat's tent or whatever. And then maybe later you will get a description from your perspective of what that tent really looks like. And it kind of helps to expand on this world a little bit in a way that doesn't take up moments of the text unnecessarily, I think.
Right. It doesn't feel like it's being forced as like to be described to you. Like there's nothing unnecessarily being added to the story that doesn't need to be there.
Yeah.
I think I've just hit upon, like, I have read it, and part of it was like you love it, Kaitlyn, and my best friend loves it, and so I don't know if it's like oppositional defiance or whatever, but when I read it, it was like, this is not my favorite. Not that it, like, and that's the thing, is like, not that it wasn't good, but I was like, this is not my favorite. Like, it was just like, okay. And I think part of it was like, I remember in trying to, this is just how my brain works, but in trying to read through the setup for the different tents, every single time I tried to create a mental map of where shit was.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you can't do it.
I know. And I kept telling my brain, don't do it. Don't do it. And I would get so angry at myself.
There's like 2 tents that you can reasonably link together because
literally
Yeah. So like the very first introductory chapter is talking about you waiting at the gates to go in. And then there's one that comes shortly after. I believe it's called Darkness and Stars or Stars and Darkness. That is the main entrance looks like. So that's literally like you're waiting outside and then the main entrance, and then the rest of it, you have no fucking clue where it is or where it could
be. But I think I've just hit upon one thing that was like, bothered me is not the right word, but like didn't settle with me, if that makes any sense.
You're trying to do too much homework.
Yeah. All right.
My personal favorite is the Pool of Tears. There are a bunch of them, though. Actually, I'll look at my tabs. Hold on. There are 12 in the entire book. And like I said, they're very short. They're like 1 page each. I think the longest one is the Pool of Tears, and it's a page and like the top part of another page. They're not long at all. And they're served almost as like chapter separators. I have just a couple quotes to emphasize my point about aesthetics, and then I'm going to go on to gushing.
Okay.
So this part, they're at a dinner party at Chandrish's house, and these are the founders meeting together for the very first time to plan the construction of the circus. But it is also a dinner party, and the narrator is telling you about the like history of dinner parties at this house and how fancy and famous they are. And this is the section about desserts, and it says, "The desserts are always astonishing. Confections deliriously executed in chocolate and butterscotch, berries bursting with creams and liqueurs, cakes layered to impossible heights, pastries lighter than air, figs that drip with honey, sugar blown into curls and flowers. Often diners remark that they're too pretty, too impressive to eat, but they always find a way to manage."
Reading that book makes you so hungry.
Oh my God, does this book make you fucking hungry?
Yeah, the entire time I was reading it, I was like, oh my God, I'm like starving. I just want like a dessert.
Yeah.
Just to expand on like the tents, like my favorite one was the wishing tree.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I really like that one.
Yeah.
It's like you light a candle and like make a wish. I don't know, it was really cool. It's been a long time since I read it. It's been like 2 years.
You light your wish off of the wishes of others. So you can't just light your candle. You have to use someone else's candle to light it. So you are compounding the magic of the wish. It's incredible.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, I'm not as good as like dissecting these kind of like whimsical books as well. But like, I just remember like reading it the whole time. It was really, really beautiful the way that it was described and everything.
Yeah. This part here is Bailey. It's one of our first introductions to Bailey. He reads histories and mythologies and fairy tales, wondering why it seems that only girls are ever swept away from their mundane lives on farms by knights or princes or wolves. It strikes him as unfair to not have the same fanciful opportunity himself, and he is not in the position to do any rescuing of his own.
I love him.
Yes, I love Bailey so much. Okay, this is the last one. This is talking about people who are obsessed with the circus, basically. The circus #1 fans. They seek each other out, these people of such specific like mind. They tell of how they found the circus, how those first few steps were like magic, like stepping into a fairy tale under a curtain of stars. It is atmospheric, and everything about it has been meticulously constructed to be atmospheric so that you are constantly in this world. You're integrated into it. Oh, as an aside, I did forget to mention earlier when I was talking about the plot, the concept of there's a romance in this book. I don't think I need to tell you that between two competing magicians that there's going to be some kind of romance going on.
A rivalry.
Rivalry. And let's add another layer to this. The concept of being able to recognize the signature of what a person's magic feels like and falling in love with the feeling of being around them before you even know who they are.
Yes.
Possibly the most romantic shit ever.
I was waiting for you to gush about this because that's one of the things I really do like woven throughout the book.
Oh my
is
God.
this romance, and it is not at all in your face.
Nope.
And it's very, very subtle and nuanced, and it's really beautifully done.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very subtle, very gentle. Like, it's not, it builds so slowly, but so well, like when you finally get to it, like,
Yeah.
oh, it's gorgeous.
There's literally a scene, like a very, what I would consider a very like heavily romantic scene in this book where literally all the two of them do is walk around this house, talk about their past and their magic, and don't even touch each other. But the way that the romantic tension is written between the two of them is absolutely bonkers.
Oh, it is.
You could feel it as the reader, not even a part of the scene.
Right. And, like, I think that's a good, like, gift to have as a writer, to where, like, you don't have to rely on, like, touches or kisses or anything for, like, the reader to feel like they are reading something that's almost too intimate.
Yeah. Yeah, you kind of almost feel like you are not supposed to be a part of this scene because it's so intimate between these two characters.
Right, like, you're interrupting.
Yeah. Okay, time to gush. The reason that this book has been my favorite for so many years, and will continue to be so probably until the end of time, is because on a very, very personal level, there is something I find deeply beautiful in the way that Erin Morgenstern treats storytelling in her books. And I don't mean her as an author telling a story. I mean the act of storytelling feels like its own entity or its own character in the books. It is prevalent in everything that characters are dealing with. And I can tell she has a very great respect for the art of storytelling and the way that sharing a story with another person can be a magical experience. Despite my insistence that this book has no flaws, I will even admit here on a public platform that is not true. I know that is not true. Do not try and tell me that's not true, though. I won't listen to you. There are things that she could have done better, but that doesn't matter to me because where the strengths lie and where this really turns into something spectacular is in her ability to weave together all these different size pieces so that everything, even the small, seemingly insignificant pieces of the story, rely on one another to tell the whole thing. It's just something I find absolutely masterful and so beautifully done. There's a part at the very end. It's literally the like last line of the main storyline in the book that I can't elaborate on for spoiler reasons, but you get to the end of the story and you think, okay, all these ends are tied up, the package is wrapped, bow is on, we're done. But really, like, the last line kind of ties it up even more than you already thought it was tied up. And it's this amazing ode of the cyclical nature of stories and how we're constantly learning through the expression of storytelling and how stories are a powerful tool for teaching and self-expression and understanding and how they are foundational to being a human being. I really do get why people would bounce off of this book, because if you're somebody who wants every single solitary plot point to have an exact explanation or have your plot points be expanded on in particular ways, you're not going to like this book. But that's not what you're here for. You are here for the vibes. You are here for the art of storytelling, for the respect for the art of storytelling. You're here for the characters, immersive atmosphere, and the romance. One of my favorite quotes of all time is from this book, and I think it really wraps up the point I'm trying to get across about this book's relationship with storytelling, and honestly, my own relationship with this book. It's not a spoiler, but at the very end, Alexander, Marco's teacher, is talking to one of the other characters, and he says to them, "You may tell a tale that takes up residence in someone's soul, becomes their blood and self and purpose. That tale will move them and drive them, and who knows what they might do because of it, because of your words. That is your role, your gift."
Beautiful.
Yeah, it just like really wraps up, I think, kind of the thesis statement of storytelling for this book. And Her second book, The Starless Sea, is even more so to that point. It is literally a book about stories. It is takes place in a library. So it's just, I don't know. There was no way that this story was not going to vibe with me. And I hope everyone who reads it enjoys it as much as I do. And if you don't, stay far away from me. I don't want to hear about it.
Yeah. But I do appreciate, because, like, enough people don't do this. Like, everyone's favorite book has a flaw. And if you say that it doesn't, you're a liar. Like, every book could be expanded upon, or things could be done differently. And, like, you know, there's nothing wrong with saying, like, yeah, this book does have a flaw.
There's nothing wrong with constructive criticism.
No. And, like, you know, nothing's perfect. I mean, like, is this book pretty close? Yeah. Like, it's a beautiful piece of work. And like you said, Erin Morgenstern is like, she knows how to tell a story. And she knows how to affect you, like, with that story. And you can tell that she is deeply invested in, like, how stories are told and how they affect people.
Yeah. I think that it comes from this place of, I think it's something deeply personal with her and, like, with her relationship with herself as an author. And you can tell that comes across in the stories. And the respect that she has for not only her own time and effort put into this, but also, like, the effort of the reader to engage with the source material is something that is really prevalent. You can tell that it's chosen to be this way for a particular reason. And it's not just a bunch of words thrown together on a page.
Right, yeah. I mean, I would love to know, like, how long and how deeply she thought about this book before she wrote a single page.
Yeah. The last thing that I will say is the very first page of this book is one of those immersive, like, this is what you're doing at the circus type chapters. But the actual, like, first chapter of this book has a banger of an opening line. It's Prospero the Enchanter receives a fair amount of correspondence via the theater office, but this is the first envelope addressed to him that contains a suicide note, and it's also the first to arrive carefully pinned to the coat of a 5-year-old girl.
Damn.
I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm hooked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Even without the immersive first chapter, which is very good, but then it's like it slaps you, and then she punches you in the face right after.
Yeah. She's like, no, we're going somewhere. We have things to do. You don't have time to be excited about the thing you read on the previous page. We've got shit to do.
Right. We got a story to tell.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's The Night Circus.
It's very great. I recommend it also.
I have been waiting since the start of this podcast for you to do The Night Circus.
Yeah.
We all knew it was coming.
Yeah, exactly.
In all of our Storygraph challenges, I always put a book recommended by another Word Page Library person or, like, another member's favorite book. And it's always one of the ones there, and I just don't get to it.
Yeah. This year, our resolution can be, because mine, for that one, that I always put in there and never get to, is The Darkest Part of the Forest. So, we can trade. I will read The Darkest Part of the Forest before the end of the year, and you...
I need to read The Prince of Sorrows, and I need to read If We Were Villains. And what else do I need to read?
Gideon the Ninth.
Gideon the Ninth.
Oh, yeah. I need to read Gideon the Ninth.
Join us in hell.
Christ.
Wait, lady, have you read Gideon the Ninth?
I do. I have, but only the first one.
She won't read Harrow or Nona until the series is done.
No, that's not true, actually. I'm not reading it because I'm afraid I'm not gonna like it.
Oh, I thought you were waiting until it was done.
No, it's the same thing as B saying with The Night Circus. It's like, everyone likes this book so much, I'm afraid, like, if it's not, like, the book for me, I'm gonna feel bad about it.
Don't feel bad.
B sent me something, I can't remember, I think it was on Instagram, and it was some, like, analysis of one of the character names in Nona the Ninth, and was asking me this question. I was just like, LMAO, girl, like, you're spot fucking on. Trust me, you just need to pick it up.
Yeah, I know.
Y'all, we can't go down that rabbit hole.
No, we can't. We have to get out of here. We have to backtrack while we can still see the light.
Kristen, I heard you have a game for us.
Yeah, so we've actually played this game before.
I love when a game makes a reappearance, though.
We're doing Guess the Kindle Unlimited fake title.
Oh.
Yes.
Y'all did really good on this last time. So I'm hoping you guys do good again, or I did a better job at faking the names. And I can't believe how many books start with a court of.
Yeah, it's
in
really,
fucking
really
Kindle
rough.
Unlimited.
I hate.
Can you repeat the rules, though? I forget.
Yeah, so I'm going to read 3 names, and you're going to tell me which one I made up.
Okay.
So, okay, and I have 3 sets of 3. So, the first one is A Court of Bone and Amethyst.
Oh, God.
A Court of Vines and Vipers, and A Court of Dragons and Darkness.
These are all so fucking bad.
Amethyst one.
I think it's the second one.
I think the first one is too bad to be fake by you.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna say 3 because Kaitlyn's saying 2. So 3.
Okay, so Lady got that one right. A Court of Dragons and Darkness
Seriously?
is fake. Yes, seriously.
Jesus.
Yeah, when I typed in A Court of, like, right below, like, A Court of Thorns and Roses, blah, 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 was A Court of Bone and Amethyst. And I was like, really?
Kindle is desperately trying to recommend A Court of Sugar and Spice, that, like, Christmas.
Me too!
Yeah, it will not fucking leave me alone.
Okay, number 2. A Kingdom of Stars and Shadows, A Kingdom of Gods and Betrayal, A Kingdom of Ash and Bone.
This one's really hard.
I think I've seen the Ash and Bone.
Second one.
Gods and Betrayal
I say the first one.
is fake.
Whatever the second one was.
So, Gods and Betrayal?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that one's fake.
Oh my god.
Yay! 2 for 2! But honestly, a good fake title could definitely be real.
Yeah.
Basically, what I did for these was, like, I wrote down 3 that were real, and I just changed a word. Okay, last one. A House of Fae and Fire, A House of Bane and Blood, A House of Light and Ether.
Ether. No one knows what that really
I
is.
say the first
I
one.
love that one. I hope it's real. The first one. What was the first one again?
Fae and Fire.
Yeah, I think the first one.
Yeah, the first one.
I'm the third one, to confirm. Sorry.
Okay, the fake one is Fae and Fire.
Nice.
Yay! 3 for 3!
Yeah.
Ooh, good job, lady.
Good job. You're a master at this game.
I know, right?
Well, thank you for playing, everyone. You did great.
Yay, thank you for making games for us.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about recording earlier today, and Kristen was like, I have a game, and we were all like, oh, thank God, none of us
Oh,
thought
thank
of one.
God, yeah.
My answer was literally, I forgot we did that. I forgot we made games.
Yep.
I was going to do another one. I was going to do Guess the 1-star, but I ran out of time. So this is the one we got.
Today is January 15th. We last recorded, December 20th? We recorded almost a month ago.
And some shit has happened.
Yeah.
I missed you.
I miss you guys.
We talked
missed
at
you
least
guys,
once
too.
or twice since then, but whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, now we can be taken
Yeah,
out.
now let's get out of
Yeah.
here.
Take us out, B.
Okay. You can find us at Red in the Dark Pod on Instagram and Tumblr. Our email is redinthedarkpod@gmail.com if you want to ask a question about any of the books we discussed on this episode. We also have a book club. You can find us at Worn Page Library on Instagram and Tumblr, which will have details on how to join our Discord. You can also find our annual reading challenges by searching Worn Page Library's Baker's Dozen and Worn Page Library's Book of the Month in the Challenges section on the Storygraph app. Lady's book was called A Flame in the Night by Dante. Kaitlyn's book, no one is surprised, was The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. We also mentioned Destroy the Day by Brigid Kemmerer. Good luck to us. Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas. Interview with the Vampire by Anne Rice. A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. And Providence Girls by Dante. Our next episode will be out on February 6th. Keep reading, and we'll see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.